It's your boy Logos. And today I want to react to Thomas Sowell Dismantles Egalitarianism. And from my understanding, egalitarianism is a political philosophy advocating or pushing for social equity or equality. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that on the surface, but let's see if they want to tie in political or economic equality into that, because in that area I think you're cutting hairs and it gets a little fuzzy because you can't force people to be successful at work or be successful at making money. But let's get into it.
I think we're talking at cross purposes. On the one hand, we're talking about results that we're hoping for. On the other hand, we're talking about processes that we're setting in motion. You're saying, should we hope for certain kinds of lessening of inequality and so on? The real question, the political question is, shall we set in motion certain processes because we hope for that? And do those processes enhance or reduce freedom? And I think the argument that Milton is making, certainly the argument that I would make, is that the attempt at doing these things, and it doesn't really matter, it's a complete straw man to talk about absolute inequality. No, not
yes,
at all.
Yes, it is,
no.
absolutely. Throughout the film, this is the straw man he brings up in order to say how ridiculous to have absolute equality. And then he goes on to say how ridiculous to have
my whole point is
homogenization as well.
As a result, you see, that you set up processes whose end result may not be any more or less inequality than exists now, but the question is, those processes may indeed reduce freedom greatly. I would go beyond the question of equality and put it more generally, that any process to ascribe any status to any group of people, equality, inferiority, superiority, must necessarily reduce freedom, because whatever the government wishes to ascribe to any group, whatever place, to use the phrase that was very common in the South, that blacks should have their place, whatever place the government is going to assign to people, that place will not coincide, that place will not coincide either with what all those people are doing or with how others perceive all those people, because there's too much diversity among human beings. To maintain any system of ascribed status from the top is going to mean reducing people's freedom across the spectrum. That's the point.
People have an ascribed.
That is very true. Once you try to make general arguments to fulfill your political ideology or your belief, I don't know, in my opinion, it's very shaky to do that, because not everybody fits into that box. Not every black person, not every white person, or not Mexican or Japanese person fits into a stereotype that people try to say that they fit into. There are successful black people, there are successful white people, there are successful everybody. And to say that one person is inferior, one person is superior, I think you're just ignorant. And I hate when any person of any group, whether or not you're black or white, try to say you're superior or not. I don't like black, I don't know what you want to call it, black hoteps or black, I don't know, Israelites or any people like that who try to put down Jewish people or any other people and say they're inferior and say black people are superior. You're nothing more than Nazis to me, and you just flipping around to make yourself be in the superior group. You're not special. You're not unique, and you're damn sure not woke or enlightened. You're nothing more than a dumbass. And when other people do it to you, you have an issue with it. But once you do it to yourself, or you say you're the special group or people who has special powers or is chosen by God or some higher authority that you made up, then it's fine and cool. But if somebody else does it to you, then that's just further proof of how you're the special group, and you're the special people, and you're the people who need to be listened to, and you're the people that should be in control. I don't like any person like that. You should be in power based on your merit, not because of your skin color, your gender, or who you know. It's based on your competence and your intellect and how good you are at your job. And that should be decided depending on that particular job in that particular field or area, not because of your gender, race, or any other category. And I'm not going to focus on categories, because that stuff is so superficial and minute.
Status. It isn't as if government, by its intervention, creates it. People are born into this world in a given sector of a society, and many, many of them are born at the bottom of the society. The argument about equality of results was an argument that was linked to equality of opportunity. People recognized that unless there was a degree of equality in a degree of enough food, enough security, access to education. Unless these things were available to all children, then equality of opportunity was merely a mockery. That's why equality of results became an issue, and it became an issue for black people in the United States, and they expressed their concern,
No,
whatever
they
the
didn't.
opinion
You expressed
polls.
it, damn it. Look. No, they did not. They did not.
They
Damn it.
expressed
Can I just finish it and then reply?
They expressed their will by their extraordinary participation in a protest movement that began in the late 1950s and didn't end until
I
the
have
1960s. Intellectuals were not in that protest movement.
You want me to
Black
answer or you want to keep
people were
on?
in that protest.
You want me to answer?
I
Yes.
finished.
Good. Black people have never supported, for example, affirmative action, quotas, anything of that sort. Wherever polls have been taking a black opinion on such matters of should people be paid equally or should there be this or that, black people have never taken a position that you describe. So it is not a question of what black people chose to do. It's what you choose to put in the mouths of black people. It is what you choose to project. It is not what any black people have ever said anywhere that you can put your
It's
finger
what you
on.
choose to put into the mouth of the pollsters, as far as I can see.
I
Look
put in
at
the
the
mouth of the
leadership of the
pollsters.
black community.
Like most people, I have never seen a pollster.
If you look at the leadership of the black...
But I want to go back to I want to carry it back to the earlier point. Number one, there's no question about what equality of results, if it comes about through a framework of freedom, is a desirable result. Number two, I argue in the film, I have argued here, that in point of fact, you get greater equality of actual results by a system under which people are free to achieve unequal results. That for the poor people of the world that Francis Fox Piven was talking about, the most effective mechanism for enabling them to improve their status is not a governmental program which seeks to ascribe to them certain positions, which seeks to provide them with certain goods and services, but a governmental program which tries to eliminate arbitrary barriers to advancement. I would say that in this world, the greatest source of inequality has been special privileges granted by government. That government, you may talk a great deal, there may be a lot of talk about how we're going to eliminate inequality. But if you look at, go back to your case of Britain, is there any doubt that one of the effects of governmental intervention in Britain has been to create new opportunities for special classes? That the way to get wealthy in a society that supposedly is aiming at equality, that the way to get wealthy is to get a special government permit to to get foreign exchange, or to import goods, or to, in this country, to set up a television station.
Okay, that's the end. I think I'll just wrap it up by saying I think the best way to lift people out of poverty is not through handouts. It's by giving them opportunities that they have to seek out themselves and take advantage of. And I think education and awareness of the opportunities available to you and change your mindset and your culture is the best ways to do it. Look at what happens in poor countries around the world, like Africa, India, and places like that. Once they have more education, they usually have less children, and they usually have much more better and successful outcomes. That doesn't necessarily mean they go Western and the whole separate families. That just means they don't have to keep repeatedly having children over and over and over again and live in poverty. They still want families, but they also want a future, and they also can understand that sometimes it is better to have education in the more modern world compared to the old world or ancient world. I think egalitarianism and voting and wanting social equality is a good thing on the surface level, but I don't think government programs in of itself is what needs to happen. I'm not a fan of reparations. I'm more a fan of education and providing awareness and resources of all the jobs that are available. And I'm also a much more bigger fan of cutting out the nonsense and taking accountability within our community of the stuff that we do that hold ourselves back, of the stuff that we say we want, but we constantly decade after decade mess up and don't get. We need to stop listening to rappers, musicians, athletes, and celebrities. We need to listen to intellectuals and successful people, business people, educated people within our communities. Not Cardi B's, not Futures, not Drake's, nobody like that. Not people who has to get money through entertainment and by average everyday people buying them stuff and buying their products and giving their money. That's how they make their money. But us people, average, ordinary day people, giving them money. And we need to stop following them because they'll say whatever to get a check, whether it's from the government or a politician like Joe Biden. It's your boy Logos, and I'll see y'all next time.